Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're back on the dev server, and it's time to have a look at the Fox. This is the FV721 Fox. It's a new little armoured car, which is coming in for Britain. This one does seem quite fun, and is at a BR which might be a bit hectic for it, which is at least interesting to think about. At rank 4, it actually finds itself in the South African part of the tech tree, probably because it's a light tank, and this is more kind of a light tank area than a South African area, and it doesn't really make sense to put it anywhere else in the actual tech tree. This vehicle has the 30mm L21A1. This is a famous or infamous gun, depending on how you see it, because it's the same gun that's on the Warrior, which is seen as one of the worst guns when it comes to those types of IFVs. The Fox, though, with the 30mm, gets the same rounds, gets the same unstabilization, and also gets a few other factors that make it a little bit weaker, which kind of suck. It doesn't have the stabilizer, but it does have a very good turret rotation speed and also a good vertical speed. So the overall targeting speed of this is quite high, which is great. You can see there the reload rate is 0.9 seconds as well, so you can just chugga, keep popping as you go. You have plenty of ammunition in this thing if you ever actually use it. And then your gunner optics are quite nice too, so from range you're able to scout in this thing and also pop off some 30s, which, you know, surprisingly, even though they're only 30mm, do a decent amount of damage. It does also have a coaxial L37A2, which is right here. Has some smoke grenades on either side too, so that's quite cool to see. And also really good gun depression, since the breach itself isn't actually that big. With the 3-man crew, you have a driver in the bottom, a commander who has fire controls, but not in the X-ray, and also the gunner, who performs the loading duties, which you can see the rounds right here at the bottom. The engine that powers this thing is a 190 horsepower engine, and this actually powers the transmission, which can go as fast forwards as it does back. So you can really run around with this thing, which is going to be its key advantage compared to a lot of other vehicles, because if you actually try and stay and fight with this thing, you're going to get mullered. So instead, you have to try and get around the flanks, you have to go around the place and do a lot of damage in that way, and then you might have a pretty decent time in it. So with the Fox, with its targeting speed, with everything else going on, you can do pretty good. And surprisingly, and this really is surprisingly, the armor isn't that bad. Now, why do I say that? Because it's a 6-ton vehicle. It has 40mm of armor on the turret, it has 33mm on the hull, and on the sides it has 41mm, which means that it's not going to be able to stop many main caliber shells. But the main thing I was looking for this thing was a little bit of survivability against stuff like 50 cals, against stuff like 30 cals, and this vehicle does actually have it. So against a lot of vehicles, which if you knock out their main gun, or if you knock out something like that, you won't just get penned instantly by their secondary, which is what happens with so many of these types of vehicles. Whether you're playing something like the Type 87, whether you're playing something like the AML 90, it's really annoying when it happens. And hopefully with the Fox, it won't actually happen that much, because it does have a little bit more armor than some of the others. So let's have a chat about the gun. You start off with the default belt. Only pens 53mm, pretty bad. You know, there's nothing really to write home about it. You do, at rank 1 though, get access to this APDS. Now this APDS pens 110mm at most, which is pretty decent, and also at the same time, with the reload, you can just keep chugging over and over and over again, eventually find those weak spots, eventually do some post-pen damage, and that will work really well. The problem is, though, this works great against light vehicles. Even higher tier, you know, around like 80, 90, there's quite a lot of light vehicles. You know, we've seen earlier in the week a ZA35 just tearing apart DF105s, Leopard 1s, you know, M113s, Mardas, stuff like that. The Fox doesn't face those. It faces Tiger 2s. It faces M103s. It faces T34s, T30s, IS3s, IS2s, IS4s, IS6s. That is going to be its main competition. And as somebody who's been playing around those PRs recently with a vehicle that doesn't have a lot of pen, it is a bit of a pain. And I feel like with the Fox, you're going to have, unfortunately, a very similar time, which won't be very fun. So you're going to be what we call a cameraman most of the time, compared to what could be, which, of course, is more of a proactive kind of mover around the battlefield. At the 70BR as well, you don't really have too much of a lineup. You got the Conway, the Centurion Mark V, if you have it. Most people, I don't think, do have the Centurion, so you're not exactly looking at a great lineup around the place. But, you know, I mean, it can, I suppose, get better. Hopefully they will add a few more vehicles around those BRs to help this thing out, but also just help out the British in general. And just to kind of showcase its speed, the acceleration that it has is quite nice. So you can already get up to 40 kilometers an hour, move around. With the smokes, you'll be able to reposition very quickly, and you can see how quick the turret is as well. Not just from a vertical point of view, but also from kind of a targeting point of view. So you can get up to 70 kilometers an hour really quickly in this thing. And also, it has quite a wide turning circle for such a small vehicle. And that's just, I think, because of the amount of power going through the wheels. But you can turn quickly, and you can go the other way quickly. And with the improvements to scouting that they've actually just made to the game, vehicles like this will actually get a huge buff from being able to motor around, you know, scout over there, bang, 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 and then just keep going, keep running around like a crazy person and hoping for the best. I think that really is kind of the way to go with a vehicle like this. And then when you get onto the side of vehicles, you can see you can pen them. You know, it is possible to pen these things. You can do damage to them if you want to, which is a big plus, but you just won't be able to do it frontally, which will be a bit of a shame. So the Fox can and will do damage around the place. It will be able to motor, it will be able to toss itself about, and also it will be quite small. And being quite small has a few advantages in War Thunder, especially if you're fast. When the CAS elements start coming out, you will have a pretty big issue. You'll be able to basically just get murked by whatever is the fastest out of the place. But if you are, you know, going against a few other things, if you're going against, you know, a bunch of heavy tanks, you can easily flank them, scout them for your team, and give them a huge advantage at the start of a mission. And also, with the little 30mm, you're not really gonna, you know, cause a lot of issues for these vehicles, but you can at least try your best. And with the targeting speed the way it is, you can easily just knock off tracks while you're moving, cause a bit of a ruckus, and then go from the side, attack, do damage, and then just keep going around again and again and again and again. So the vehicle, that's its strength. It isn't, you know, the idea of kind of sitting around and just waiting to do things. You're going to have to be proactive, get on the flanks, get scouting, shoot things from the side, and then cause a bit of a ruckus and let your team do better with the scraps that have been left around. Sometimes you just got to do that with vehicles. You got to soak up a lot of the pressure so your team can do a lot more. Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, and that sucks. But that doesn't mean that it can't be successful and it can't be done at the end of the day. Hopefully you all have a wonderful time, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.